Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 16 of the Tricks and Traps Speedrun. So I'm coming into today fresh off breaking 1200, rated 1204, and we'll start the quest to 1300. Let's hop into the first game. Okay, first opponent, playing Av Ramesh. We'll play e4, and d5 was pre-moved. So the beginning of a Scandinavian. I was going to say, if queen a5, I was ready to play the Leonhardt Gambit. But queen e5, not the best move. Very often the queen will just get kicked. And I really don't need to be tricky or trappy or gambit anything. Just developing, getting some nice tempi. And yeah, let's just castle. No need to overthink this. I think going forward, I want to plant the knight on e5 and then follow up with bishop f4. Because currently the bishop can't develop to f4 without hanging itself. So yeah, this is a very typical move in the Scandi for white. Now bishop f4, setting up some discoveries. Maybe threatening this. Expecting black to either take or move the queen. And here I have a choice. I can take with the pawn or the bishop. Let's take with bishop. I don't really want to trade queens. Black's queen has moved so many times. Will likely move again, but black is already in big trouble here. This is a fork, very likely to be another fork next move. And yeah, there we saw a nice example of why sometimes you have to be careful bringing out the queen early. Yeah, usually if you play the Scandinavian, you should play this move, this, or this. Queen a5 is a main line. Maybe at some point this series we'll see this b4 gambit. But okay, nice start to the episode, up to 1213. Let's keep it going. This time we have a queen's pawn. I'll play knight f6. If c4, I'll play a Budapest. But knight f3, okay. Yeah, it's hard to be like immediately aggressive against knight f3 on move 2. So I'm going to play d5. And this is actually what I would play in like a very serious game. We're entering my main preparation as black. And I'm going to go for Queen's Gambit declined, which is not known to be a tricky opening, at least on the surface. But white's playing Catalan, so I'll play one of my favorite lines against the Catalan, except white is deviating. Most people play bishop to g2, so probably straying away from mainline theory. Still trying to develop actively. Bishop b4. Not too concerned about this move. There's knight c6 to block the check and defend the bishop. And actually, queen a4 is probably a small waste of time, although white is maybe trying to win this pawn. So I guess I should take. And then it's a question, is it worth trying to save the pawn? Yeah, this does not feel like 1200 level chess. It's actually a kind of a mainstream type of position you see at like expert or master level. It's actually a similar line to the very famous Magnus versus Hans game from the Sinkfield Cup a few years ago. I remember in that game, Hans had some like very quick e5 idea in the structure. I'm still kind of torn. Like queen d5 does invite bishop g2, then b5. And then, yeah, maybe I get away with saving the pawn. Though sometimes the queen will just move back and then a4 will come. So what to do? I'm just going to castle. I think this is a more principled move. Okay, white takes a pawn. And Yeah, I wanna be active. E5 would be a sacrifice, but the idea is to open the center, develop the bishop with tempo. I think it's justified. It's a more intuitive move. In a classical game, I would probably calculate a bit more deeply. But I'm just seeing that white is a bit behind in development, and I've developed all my minor pieces. And this pawn should be a target going forward. Knight g4 will have two attackers. Is a question where white should move the queen. If queen f4, I could play this. Queen d4, okay. And white resigns immediately, so... yeah, that maybe was a mouse slip, but maybe just an oversight. Too bad, because it was an interesting opening battle, but the game ends in just 11 moves. I'll toggle on analysis and just check the opening. Yeah, this position, engine does like, and the engine actually prefers queen d5. I just wasn't sure about going into this, like b5, queen c2, and there's some pressure. Engine prefers bishop d7 here. Maybe a better way to target the queen. Queen c2, knight a5. Interesting. Okay, well, that's two games this episode where my opponents brought their queen out early and faced some pretty severe consequences. So this brings me to 12-21. Let's keep it going. Black again. And what do I want to do? Let's play a Scandinavian. I think there was a comment on the most recent speedrun episode requesting not only a Scandi, but the Portuguese Gambit, which I think is d4 bishop g4. But c4 invites a pretty cool gambit from black, e6. And this is an Icelandic gambit. Bishop takes e6. I'll admit I don't know too much theory here, but I do know that black is supposed to have some fun. And I vaguely remember Magnus played this at some point in the past. Had a nice game in this. So white is developing the king side. So I'm fully developed, still down the pawn. Nice thing is that white can't really get in d4, so I'm going to have good control over the square. But it is a question, like how to put the pressure on. Like maybe just queen d7, rook d8. Could also consider bishop g4, take, and eventually knight d4. I'll just play standard here, queen d7. And yeah, try and use the d-file. This is one of the benefits of being down a pawn early, is when you're missing a pawn, you have an extra, in this case, half-open file to work with. A5 was pretty automatic, just stopping pawn b4. And the rook has some more purpose here on the a file, but I don't think I'm getting this move in, so let's put it somewhere even more useful. And I mean, rook e8 looks natural. There's also bishop f5. I think bishop f5 makes a bit more sense. Attacking the pawn directly. And this is a decent quality game so far. My opponent has not made the same mistake as my previous opponents of putting their queen in danger. And I'm not sure if I want to take the pawn like right away. Actually here, yeah, white is getting some counterplay. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I want to take because this leads to a lot of trades. And I would lose c7 in the end. So bishop e6 is a candidate move. I mean, this is passive. I was thinking white might play c5 and then forcibly win the c7 pawn. Also have to watch out for d4 coming. Although, I still have four things guarding d4. So it should still be okay. Yeah, leaning towards this. Not the most exciting move, though. But honestly, I don't see what else to do, so let's play this. Really putting the question to white. Pawn is still a bit tender. But again, if I take the pawn, queens would be traded and c7 would again hang in the end. And white is actually provoking me to take the pawn. Interesting move. So takes. c7 falls. Oh, bishop takes c7. That's a problem. So what if I take with bishop first? And then still bishop c7. Do I have this move? It feels very wrong. Yeah, white's playing well. d5 and c5 both looming. I feel like I have to go for this, but after takes, bishop takes c7, I think black is losing material. Although, is there bishop takes b2? Oh, it's a deep line. Bishop takes b2. I lose a rook. I win a rook. We could trade queens. I lose a bishop. I'm still down a pawn in the end, and we're trading so much, but I think it's playable for black. Let's do it. I mean, there might be other options too, like takes. Maybe I can sack the exchange. If I can somehow keep queens on the board. Is white going to go into this? Oh, there's also rook c8. Oh, wait. After this, I'm not actually down a pawn. I won back the d4 pawn. Okay. Although there might be lines where a5 hangs. So white goes into this. So bishop takes b2. Huh. Yeah, I want to generate tactics, but it's not easy. Bishop takes b2, I think, is the best chance. Take. Wait, take. I take the queen and then take on f6 with my bishop. All right, let's go for this. I feel like I'm going to have to conserve time too. This is turning into a very interesting battle. Now there's rook a2, which I'm just realizing, but okay, white doesn't do it. Now I could take with the rook. And what's happening here? Rook a2 is expected. It's crazy. My bishop is like nearly trapped. But I have bishop d4. Considering the sack, I think I have to go for bishop d4. A5 is going to fall. Okay, let's play bishop d4. There's a small trap. If rook d2, I can take with the discovery. Of course, there's rook d1, and then I don't have the discovery. Interesting. So attacking the rook. Oh, does this win material? Because it obstructs the defense of the bishop. Okay, I'm actually in trouble. I'm the one getting tricked and kind of trapped. Do I have counter tricks? I might have to just sack the exchange. Like bishop b6. Of course not what I want, but if I play this, there's takes and takes and takes, which is even worse. I don't see anything better. Let's play this. I should probably enable pre-moves. I might need them later. Play a pre-move? Live? Pre-move, okay. Ooh, white doesn't take the exchange. That's good news. I have rook d8. Now there's a pin and a battery. If c5 I take. Also, I'm threatening knight e4. A really nice fork. Okay, this is turning around. I mean, there's also bishop takes f2 with a sack and then the fork, but is that better? Wait, here? No, I think this is called for. I was calculating rook d5. But then I'll have a choice between taking with the bishop or the knight or even bishop e6. I like the idea of bishop e6. And white will have so many things under pressure. So I'm down to just over 3 minutes. But still should be enough time. I'm not sure what to expect from white. Rook d3 walks into lots of trouble. So pawn c5. That's probably the best try. But I'm very happy to take the rook. And I think I can just take this. There's still the pin. Yeah, white's whole position is crumbling. I might have some back rank mates in the end. Or a singular back rank mate, I should say. Like if takes, I would take the rook. Okay, bishop g4. Do I want to take on f2? Let's just take on d6. I'll take with knight. Okay, life is good. Up a rook. Opponent resigns. Interesting game though. Felt like I got outplayed in this early middle game. And the opening was pretty non-threatening. I was pretty happy with the position I reached after we both developed. Although, Engine's not too impressed. I mean, maybe that's the nature of playing such a gambit, is white is up a pawn and black's compensation. It's a bit more positional, so it's like hard to be aggressive right away. Going forward, just want to see if I had any improvements. Engine prefers bishop g4. And then here, yeah, d4 was a great move. And I was actually in a lot of trouble. Apparently white can take... Oh, white can just trade down. Wait a minute, what? Okay, this would have been the best line according to the engine. Bishop takes c7 here. White's still up a pawn, has a bishop pair, and probably winning another pawn too. Okay, white didn't play most precisely, but then I was still in trouble. Yeah, bishop d6 is a great move, and yeah, I should have been losing material. I think white got careless for a moment. Rook d2 kind of gave me the advantage. Bishop takes f8, or even c5, and then take on f8, and yeah, I would have had a lot of coming back to do. Anyway, I survived. This win brings me to 1229. Let's do another. I'll play e4. And I'm going to play a King's Gambit. I did see there was a recent super chat comment on a recent video requesting a King's Gambit. The main move is knight f3. I'm going to play bishop c4. This is actually my my preferred move. It invites queen h4, but then king f1. And then white can develop actively. Okay, here I'll play knight f3. I haven't played too much King's Gambit in this series, but very often you can get positions like this where you take over the center, pretty easily win back the pawn. Yeah, I think it makes sense to take here. And if I take with queen, I do lose this. Calculating queen f2. Is it worth going for? Let's try it. It looks interesting. If black wants to take, then the initiative is all mine. Like, I'm the one making threats. f7 is very tender. And it might even be nice later, like having the half open d file. I'll develop quickly, get the rooks to the open files. Yeah, knight e6 is a move. Let's castle. Black is trying to complete development. Yeah, black is actually very close to stabilizing. Ideally, I want to create some issues for black. And the problem is, if I play e5 and take, then I lose my queen. There's this bishop c5 idea. So let's just keep developing. Knight c3. I guess I could take... Nah, let's play rook d1. So I'm preparing pawn e5. Now the pin on the d file. Oh, black plays d5. Interesting. Yeah, that very easily gives me the pawn. And this is a check, but it's nice having my queen not pinned. And okay, there are a few tactics here, a few discoveries. There's knight b6, this and this, all of which attack the queen. If I take on f6, there's queen takes f6. We could trade, but I want something more. So I think the most straightforward is to take on c7. Attacking the queen, attacking the rook. My knight's defended by my queen. And I think eventually I'm going to have this move pawn e5 to crash through on the f-file. And the knight is basically already pinned to the f-pawn. So one example line might be queen e7, I take the rook, black takes back. Oh, but instead black goes for this, so let's just take the queen. Knight f2 doesn't hurt me. Maybe black wants to set up some back rank idea. But speaking of back rank, Game is about to be over. Rook was pinned on the back rank. Okay, nice finish. Yeah, hopefully nice example of King's Gambit middle game. If I wanted to be safer, I could have taken with the pawn and keep this pawn defended, and yeah, Queen h4, there's bishop g3. But still got some nice activity. Pieces were happy. And yeah, even if black doesn't give back the pawn, let's say castling, e5 would be very nice looking. Although maybe there's pawn takes e5. So yeah, black is still probably doing okay here. Engine actually slightly prefers black. But sometimes at this rating level, such positions are just easier to play from the white side. Like even when you're down material, it's nice having the space and the tactical opportunities. So that brings me to 1237. Let's do one more to wrap up the episode. All right, next opponent playing Emacs Return from South Africa. And yeah, I want a Budapest. Sometimes at this rating level, yeah, you see a London or knight f3. So I'll play the same opening I played earlier, pawn d5. And we have a London, so I'll play the most aggressive line I know, which is pawn c5. Basically a reverse Queen's Gambit. And white takes, which is not the most common. Usually white will play e3 or c3. Against this, what do I want to do? I'm going to be patient and not try and win back the pawn right away. Although, yeah, it probably makes sense to like go for e6 or even queen a5 check. Anything more aggressive I can do? Let's play bishop g4. In an ideal world, I would really love to play e5. Take over the center, exploit the pin against the knight. So white is pinning my knight. If queen a5 doesn't win the bishop because there's knight c3. So yeah, like e5, there's bishop takes. I think e6 is probably the move that's called for. Looking for other ideas. And can I go crazy with g5? G5 is actually kind of cool. It's not a move you see every day. Like objectively, it's probably not the best, but the point is to open the file and just get initiative. Opponent does not take the pawn, which is actually kind of annoying because now, yeah, now I'm pinned and I can't. I'm actually pinned in multiple ways. I guess bishop g7. I mean, one of the points of g5 was to fiend kettle my bishop. Try and use a long diagonal. If I take the knight, the queen will activate. There is this move. There's also this move, but then g4 and maybe eventually lose a pawn. Yeah, not thrilled with the position here. I'm going to play bishop to d7. So this unpins this knight. I am threatening to take, which would win material. And white takes the seemingly free pawn, but yeah, the pawn was poisonous. That's a free bishop. Now life is good. Offering the bishop trade. I think white is slightly collapsing now. I've seen this as a recurring pattern, especially at this rating level. Sometimes after you make one mistake, then things can go very downhill. I'm not winning the bishop. There is c3 or knight c3 to defend. But I'm going to have some nice initiative. This actually looks very nice. Knight has to move back. And then I can take, or even play knight e4 right away. Yeah, probably knight e4 right away and attack the pinned knight. This also defends my knight on e5. Trying to unleash the bishop against e3. And I think white's about to lose more material. Like c3 and a4 are very unstable. Not to mention I'm threatening to take and have another attacker against c3. So b4, kind of a Hail Mary, but yeah, this just makes things even worse for white. And this is a fork. Yeah, at this point I'm probably more interested in just checkmating. Take the knight, open the king a bit. Yeah, setting up some discovery. It's not worth my time to take the bishop. Just go for the kill. Yeah, this should be mate in a couple more moves. If white decides to play on. Queen d4, okay. Yeah, I'm not interested in the queen. King g8, or king g1 is the only legal move here. And now I have my choice between this and this. There's multiple mates in one. I'll take the queen with checkmate. Okay. GG. Whoa, what happened there? Oh, I unlocked maybe some new openings. What did I click on? I guess this shows like the openings I played. Interesting. I have a King's Gambit. Just tore apart the London opening. Let me go back. Is there much to analyze? I didn't fully explain this g5 move. But I was more anticipating bishop takes g5, and then I can play knight e4 to harass the bishop, also attack the pawn, and then use the newly opened g-file along with the long diagonal. And this would have been interesting. I imagine the engine doesn't approve of this. Actually, the engine says this is playable for black. White's best move is queen d4, but yeah, it's very much a game. White actually responded with the best move, bishop e5, not accepting the sacrifice. But of course, knight takes g5 was a blunder. White would have been doing well if bishop takes e6. I think I was going to take back with the pawn. And yeah, this g-pawn is a bit misplaced. Engine says +2 after knight c3. Anyway, managed to stay clean today. Finishing this episode at 12:45. Hope you guys enjoyed the games today. As always, if you have questions, leave them below. Also, if you have opening suggestions, leave them below. I do read the comments. And stay tuned for more. I'll see you guys soon.